Okay, hey, what's up? A very late review. This film came out early April, Warfare. So it was. This is a tearjerker for me, but it's like this is the basically this film is basically they this team same team that made Civil War last year. Caused division for right for the election, April last year. A year later, 1 year anniversary later after the movie Civil War, which was basically a pointless film because it just showed Civil War without any context and without any reason. I felt that the whole point of a Civil War movie would be to show a reason why America went into a Civil War, but because he didn't do that, he wanted to have it where it's accessible to both left and right. They made it where there was a reason. So I don't know if the left would, if they are against private weapon ownership, how would they have a civil war? But anyway, but the whole thing, people always laugh about the movie Civil War about California and Texas getting united and somehow also kind of have a soft alliance with Florida. That's hilarious. But anyway, I digress. But I'm just explaining that's what brought about this movie Warfare, because Ray Mendoza, he had a story where his unit, a Navy SEAL unit, was pinned down and they were rescued. Two of his guys got shredded by IEDs, and they were rescued by an army unit. So that it's a tearjerker because you see the guy that was blown up. One of the guys that was blown up in his unit came and gave him a hug and all that stuff because they filmed it. They filmed this movie basically in America in some, in these fake huts. Even when I was in the army, they have these fake huts set up where we have a chemical lab base or whatever. So it's like they set up these fake huts and they film the movie right there in America, and then just make it look like Iraq in 2006. But yeah, very. I mean, it just shows you the pointlessness of war. These men just died over oil, whatever. So it's just like, yeah, it's kind of like the mind fuck of it. But yeah, yeah. So basically, yeah, and that was really. I got emotional. I got choked up watching this really the second time, and the first time I got was mine choked. The second time I got really choked up watching it at home because I streamed it at home, and yeah, very good movie. It's really a documentary with actors just acting out true events that happened. I mean, you got B-list level actors. Was it Tony Soprano's son? That was the name James Gandolfini, his real son, and his not his name is Michael. So the film who looks just like his fat ass daddy who died 10 years ago. You got he's playing an officer, Marine Corps officer, I believe. It's hard to tell in the movie who's Navy and who's Marines and who's Army because they all have a very similar uniforms back in '06. Because I this movie happened when I was a kid. So it was like, yeah, and then this is 2006. I was only 15. Then it was like you had then the Army unit. I think Army unit was led by an Asian dude. And that's a dude that came and saved them because the Navy SEAL officer was just mind fucked. So then he had to be saved like that, and it's just a beautiful but very sad and shows the pointlessness of war. And you understand why the movie didn't does. I love how the movie didn't even talk about 9/11 or anything. It just showed you what happened in them days, like in 2000, that one day in 2006, just what happened, and it's just because it's just one battle. It just begins. They're watching some girls old school laptop, watch a girl in a music video, dance, jump around. They're dry humping the air and all the typical Army and Navy shit. And so then it just they show all that shit, and they show the Navy SEALs covering the Marines with the AR-10 and shit like that. Then when they try to exfiltrate, they try to leave the building, they're hit by IED, and that is just like and it's just the horror of war. Of just like you just feel like you're there. So I'm just so glad I wasn't deployed that shit. But I mean, I recently went to the VFW, and they said, "Oh, because how you know I did 4 years active duty Army?" They said that I was not you can't be a VFW member. I was like, okay, I really don't care. I'm like eating my shorts, I don't give a shit. So basically, I'm like, God damn it, I get 4 years. How many years you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got kicked out for the the shot and the jab, whatever. So yeah, so I don't really want to give a shit. So anyway, and so then man, a quick thing I also want to talk about is the finale. I'm just so done with Disney. I want to talk about the finale of Punisher. Punisher Born Again. Let me pull that up. Was Daredevil Born Again, but Punisher's featured heavily in it. This show was just I did a rant on this show a month ago, but I'm finally just doing talking about finally talking about the finale that just they happened a couple weeks ago, and because the finale happened, um, and Punisher and Daredevil have to take on the corrupt copy piggy motherfuckers that killed an innocent Puerto Rican superhero in the show. So it's like, and they're wearing these Punisher skulls, which is crazy that cops did this in real life, and it's pathetic and crazy because they're just made like, oh, we're just military force, we're pieces of shit, we're just gonna go around murdering civilians, and there's been an epidemic of cops hurting veterans. It's pathetic, whether they're homeless or whatever the fuck is wrong with veterans. Why don't they give these men help? But no, you have so many cops that wish they could have joined the military. The flat-footed fucks. They just abuse veterans and shit like that. It's absolutely pathetic. Every time a cop mistreats me, I'm just like, these motherfuckers are pathetic. So I'm just like, this is going to come to a head, and there's going to be consequences eventually for this shit. Whether it's just taking, it's going to be just like me, just old school consequences. It might not even be. We probably don't want to form this corrupt evil system. So basically, I try to be spiritual. I'm comedic in try to be Afro spiritual, comedic, and it's just so hard to keep your faith in this world when, or I don't really call it faith. I don't believe in faith per se. I believe in just spiritual knowledge to say, okay, is there a creator out there? Is there, whether you give him Egyptian avatars as we do and followers of the Dr. Ray Hagen's philosophy, or you're still a Christian, you're still whatever you are, a Jew, whatever you are, Mormon. And I'm not getting into all that. I think Mormons have a crazy racist doctrine, but I'm not getting into all that. Basically, no matter what you are, and I understand people are mad that Daredevil's not, they didn't keep it Catholic, but of course, they went Daredevil to kill more people. I thought that Daredevil being Catholic was a new addition that by Frank Miller was really that great of an addition to me, because I felt that no matter what what he's a Christian or Protestant, Christian or Catholic, doesn't really matter. I mean, just he has a moral code. He doesn't kill or unalive, and he doesn't violate that code typically, except on occasion. There's been some elsewhere stories where he killed, he unalived. I don't care about YouTube censors, where he unalived Bullseye and Kingpin eventually. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. And Marvel's just going down the dumps. DC's down the dumps. The Superman movie is going to probably be trash. It already looks like trash. So Jim Gunn is going to make probably some more trash. So I don't give a shit at this point about Marvel and what they're doing. So but back to Daredevil and Punisher. Punisher waits 8 episodes to do something about. Punisher would never do that, and most characters of the Punisher in the comics, he would not wait no 8 episodes to fuck up some corrupt piddly wigglies. He would have already done it. So this is like an insult to the character. This is up there with when Batman and Dark Knight quit for 8 years and Dark Knight Rises or some shit. It makes no sense to the character if you know the comics. So that is like, what the heck? So basically, Punisher waits all this time. Karen Page, Matt Murdock's Daredevil's former girlfriend, calls Punisher because they kind of have a crush on each other too. She calls Frank John Berthel plays Frank Castle, who's a Jewish actor. He calls up the guy that's playing calls up Punisher. They make this version of Punisher. He's a Marine Corps Raider. In the comic, he's a force recon Marine, but it's Marines can probably understand that better. I think there's a big difference there. I heard the Marine community say there's a big difference between the two, but I don't know about all that. So basically, and the character is based on an Army Ranger character named the Executioner from the novels Executioner. Jerry Conway admitted that. But anyway, so Punisher, but in the comics he's Marine Corps veteran. So he was just a lieutenant. In the comics, I think he was a captain. Anyway, so then he goes and he is recruited by Karen Page to save Matt Murdock because the corrupt pigs under Mayor Fisk, the Kingpin is sending the corrupt pigs to come and kill Matt Murdock, and this totally different from the comics because in the comics, I think the black officer in the comics was not corrupt, and that's like why that'd be mind blowing in real life. But this officer wasn't corrupt in the comics. In the show, he's all the way corrupt. He killed the Puerto Rican superhero. So then White Tiger. So uh, the cops come in for Daredevil, and Punisher shows up to his Daredevil's loft, and Punisher suited and booted, wearing his Punisher skull bulletproof vest, and got all his guns. And at least I think he has a shotgun and a pistol. And he says, "Hey, Red, I'm chopping these motherfuckers up when they show up." And then Daredevil's like, "I don't need that type of help." And I'm like, "Come on, Daredevil. These cops are coming to kill you, and you don't want them. You don't want. And you have. You're not willing to cross that line. Finally, these cops are coming to kill you, Daredevil. I know you have the no kill rule because of not killing because of Catholicism. It makes you laugh because how many there were 3 crusades with Catholic Church killed that many people. So anyway, so Punisher finally shows up and says, "Hey Red, I'm gonna chop up these motherfucking fanboys up." When they show up, these corrupt piggies, and then Daryl's like, "No, I don't want you to do that." So basically, and the show just fell up to this point. You've had a lot of filler. There's the reason why this should have been 9 episodes. This show had so much filler episodes, so much woke on the unnecessary black character as a criminal. I explained that in the last episode, last time I reviewed the show. And then and it was just the show is like, why could we have a Karen Page, bring back Karen Page and bring back, I mean, at least Elektra is a badass. I don't think Elektra is the greatest character, but at least she's a badass. But they made her Asian in the Netflix show. I don't understand why they did that shit. But anyway, she's obviously white Greek in the comics. Okay, whatever, they changed it. Okay, so she's like half French, half Vietnamese, which is a dime a dozen. So then, basically, Mr. Receding Hairline Daredevil says, "Okay." So Charlie Cox has got a receding hairline. So basically, Daredevil suits up. He has his high tech Billy Club and shit, and Punisher suited and booted. Basically, the cops show up. Punisher shoots one in the head through a window and comes to the back. Starts chopping him up with a knife, a combat knife, and a pistol and a shotgun. And Daredevil's knocked them all right across the room with his Billy Club. It's a cool fight scene. And I think Punisher does yell. I think I've heard fans complain that Punisher yells too much because in the original, and even the Netflix show, which not isn't as good as the Punisher was in the Daredevil show, at his cameo, because Punisher really works best as an antagonist to a hero that doesn't kill. So Punisher is just killing these guys because he's a former Marine. So and Marines always say there's no such thing as former, right? So then he goes and murdered. He has to take care of these corrupt Piggly Wigglies, and because they're killing people, innocent people. So he kills most of them. They shoot everyone. He kills everyone. Daryl knocks the corrupt black cop out, and then Punisher has killed all of the cops. So then Punisher tells Daredevil, "Hey, I found the shell casing. He killed your buddy, right?" This cop was so stupid. He has the Punisher logo on his shell casing for his 9mm. So he is like, "Whoa!" So Daredevil sees this shit and confronts the black officer that's incapacitated. He's like, his gut shot, and he's like, "Oh, I can." He says, "I can die easy. I know I killed a Puerto Rican dude." And he's like, "You killed a friend of mine," Daredevil says, and he just hits him with his billy club. And Punisher's about to shoot him. And he says, "No, Frank, he's not worth it," because the Catholic guilt. And then so Punisher says, "Pow!" Shoots the other cop. Is he worth it? And I was like, that was Punisher right there. But then they've lost the plot when Punisher just showed up and started killing cops with no strategy and just gets. I understand that, and they're gonna make a subplot where he wants to get captured just to kill more of the corrupt cops or something. But I thought that Punisher would have had more strategy. He would have used a rifle or just taken them from afar, hit and run. There was no reason to get captured in this situation. I know some Punisher loves getting captured and then later to flip the script on it. And he's so good at Marine Corps Special Forces training. He knows how to get captured and then get out the restraints and then kill the people. But if they're using actual handcuffs, that's very hard to get out of. But anyway, so Punisher's supposed to be the toughest dude in the planet other than Captain America. So and so and he's willing to cross that line. So he yeah, Punisher. It was cool to see Punisher take out the corrupt cops, but at the same time, it was like he didn't use any strategy. He just shows up and just uses a pistol and a hatchet to chop up the cops, and they finally knock him out with a shotgun butt of a shotgun. So that it was kind of a disappointment, and I felt that Daredevil should have saved Punisher as soon as he was captured. It was like, come on, Daredevil has all these super senses, even though he's not as strong as he is in comics. He couldn't save Punisher. It was like, come on, and it was like very disappointing. I think Vincent D'Onofrio, he's a great actor. He does the best job he could with the material, but he's just basically just there just because he's a good actor and he's big and tall, and so he's also he's actually really Italian, so he's doing the best way he can with the material, but the material is really subpar. Vincent D'Onofrio is great in a lot of shit. You see him, and I mean he's great in The Salton Sea. I think a lot of people are fans of him. I don't watch Law and Order, but I hear he's good in Law and Order. Well, he's good as a detective in Law and Order. Of course, he's great in Full Metal Jacket. I think he has a cameo in an old '80s movie called Adventures in Babysitting. He's good in a lot of stuff, and also what other movie was he in? Oh yeah, Men in Black. He played the cockroach. So yeah, he's a good actor, but at the same time, if he's giving shit material in Hollywood, we all know Hollywood's Illuminati or whatever. So anyway, that was my review of it. Quick review. And that's what I thought about it. So let me know what your thoughts and comments. I probably won't get no views in this video anyway. Who gives a fuck?